Well, guess what, guys? I am on a go, but I needed to do this video and get it out. I felt, especially for our friends that are in Jamaica and in Europe. Now, I ran across this article that I felt we needed to get out there, and it's basically a Jamaican girl, Miss Smith. We're going to call her that because I do not know how to pronounce her first name, and I apologize. Um, her and her family were living in England, but they ended up moving from England back to Jamaica because the knife crime was so violent. So to escape that crime, they moved back to Jamaica, which I guess they weren't keeping up with Jamaica too well because they've been suffering as well. So Miss Smith was only 17 years old and she was a British schoolgirl. They moved back to Jamaica from England, and just 2 months short of her 18th birthday, she was found dumped on the tracks beside a sugarcane field in rural Jamaica. So this is the birthplace of both of her parents. Okay, what they're saying here is her mother and father. This might be kind of a repeat, but I want to make sure I cover everything. Both her mother and father were both born in Jamaica, but they took Miss Smith from her home in South London to escape the capital's rising knife crime epidemic. So their memories, like I'm confirming now, what we said earlier, growing up in Jamaica it was pretty safe there. It's obvious they didn't keep up with their friends in Jamaica because even I know, and I'm not from Jamaica, that the crime has gone rampant. But the sad part of this is both their parents say that they are overcome with guilt over their decision to move and feel trapped in Jamaica as they fight to bring their daughter's murderer to justice. So it's been a 4-month fight at the time of this article. While it is true that Jamaica's crime is bad, London's is far worse. The knife crime, which is due to immigration, population has gone off the charts. And it began to get this bad back in 2014, 15, 16. And it just continues to get worse. It's actually started before then, but it's just been a terrible. It's whenever the immigration started, you see in the large numbers coming in to other countries, you will see an increase of crime. And what people don't understand about there's differences in immigration. You have people that come here from other countries who learn the language. They come here because they want to be American and chase the American dream or another country. But the immigration that most of us are getting right now are refugees. They're people disguised as refugees, but they're really not. They are people that have lived the life of crime for their entire life, and they bring no goodness to your area when they come in. The problem about this is once they're in, it's too late. And see, they don't understand. They come here and have children, or they go to Jamaica and have children. And those children grow up to turn out just like their parents in most cases. And I was covering a little bit of Hurricane Dorian as it hit the Bahamas. And in the Bahamas, they were saying they were concerned about illegal immigrants from Haiti. The Bahamian locals say that they're just overcome with immigration that is destroying their country. So needless to say, this little girl and her parents ended up making a huge mistake going back to Jamaica. But it's not something you could have known. It's not like you can predict the future, and it's really sad because she looked like a very smart little girl with a bright future. Her mother, Pauline, 54, told the Sunday People, quote, "I've lost an angel. There's a lot of knife crime in London, and I wanted to take Miss Smith away from those dangers. We wanted her to have the same I'd have looked at life my husband and I had growing up in Jamaica, but wicked people put it into that. My beautiful sweet daughter left what we saw as a knife threat, but became a stabbing victim herself, where we took her to be safer, and I still not cannot take it in. The family says that Miss Smith grew up in a 6-bed detached house in Thornton Heath, South London, the same area where a star called Stormzy spent his childhood. So I'm not familiar with him, or if I said that correctly. Sorry, guys. So it looked like they were looking at, the grass is greener on the other side. But the truth is, right now, there's no such thing as anybody having greener grass. Right now, everybody's facing the same problems: crime, murder, kidnapping, sex trafficking. I could go on and on forever. So it's at this point where population gets so large that it's almost uncontrollable. And at this point, you need to shut down your borders, all countries, and not allow immigrants, and especially refugees, and send help to the areas where they need it the most, instead of bringing the trouble into your own country. London has been riddled with knife crime, and what I'm reading right now is that it's just getting worse. And the numbers are increasing, and those numbers that you look at will be slightly increased, but they don't include the terror attacks that they're having with knives and everything else. Why they are excluding facts, I don't know. The problem is that I cannot find a lot of information on who did this to Miss Smith. And I do have some information, personal information about her, like she attended Norbury Manor Business Enterprise College for Girls when she was a star pupil, and sang in the gospel choir in the New Testament Church of God in Brixton. So her parents are saying in 2016, Paulina Morris, a plasterer, moved to Royal Maypen in the south of the country. So in the area was probably about 35 miles from the country's capital, Kingston, where the murder rate is one of the highest in the world, the entire world. So they brought their daughter back to Jamaica, where they thought was and would be the safe place in the countryside. So according to this article, her mother added that Miss Smith was always concerned about her safety in London and when she went out because of the stabbing and gangs. Pauline added, by contrast, growing up in Jamaica in the 1960s was the ideal world. We could do anything totally safely. Then the article takes a turn talking about how quickly the violence grew. So Miss Smith quickly settled into her new life, enrolled in a private Maypen High School with her parents, hoping that she might return to the UK and go to the university there. So this town that they moved to in Jamaica, or the parish, which is Clarendon, where Maypen is the largest town, has seen violence escalate. So right now, Jamaica has declared a state of emergency because they have had more than 100 murders, if I can talk, guys, so far this 1 year. So many of those killed were children and teenagers, and that's the scary thing. The fact that people are so disconnected with their fellow human beings, and we're still talking about race problems and stuff. I don't think so. I think we have a problem, just loving anybody at all. But since Pauline has been back in Jamaica, she says, quote, things have deteriorated in 2016 there, and none of us was thinking about killing, kidnapping, raping, which there is now, end quote. Now, the worst thing about it is when you have a tragedy happen, what can test, the fate of where humanity is going? and what they're going to be like. Well, this is devastating. What I'm about to tell you is unbelievable and inconceivable. It's just, I can't understand why somebody would do this. So, Miss Smith disappeared May 10th after she was dropped off at a friend's house for a sleepover by her parents. I want to make sure I do mention, guys, that they sound like they are parents who really, truly wanted the best for their children, like most of us do. Now, after they had dropped her off for her sleepover, she was reported missing to cops, and a desperate search to organize, but her body was found 2 days later. So her one-piece yellow bodysuit had been ripped in the front, and there were signs that she had put up a desperate struggle. So how was she killed? Well, she was killed by a stab wound to her throat area. Her parents in anguish was made worse when a mobile phone picture of her daughter's body was posted on social media before she even knew she was gone. My God, come on. Can you tell me kids today or young people today don't understand courtesy? Could you imagine this happening to you? So their parents said that they were only told of her death when a relative in Canada called and asked them if they had seen what was on Facebook. Okay, so I'm looking up information that we can take on this story, and I really can't find a whole lot on the people that are responsible. In fact, all it says is a man and woman were arrested but quickly released, and there have been no further arrests. Pauline, the mother, says, quote, "Of course I asked myself, did I make the right choice? People are supportive and say, you just wanted the best for your child. I did, but look at the cost," end quote. So she's questioning herself, which is only natural, but you cannot predict the future, and it's really hard to know and understand how bad things are when the media will not tell you the truth. And I will tell you the truth right now. The whole world is in trouble, and it's because the way that we raise our kids and the media and hateful politics, poverty, all of these things are creating monsters. The cost of living is now nearly impossible. Monopolies are growing, and monopolies are something that the people should be fighting big time. And you should also be able to set a guideline of what your media talks about, because all this hate, bickering, and fighting. Now, guys, I don't usually go politics, but we got to talk about this without getting mad. I am a Democrat, but I voted for Trump. And the reason why is because I'm older now and I realize what the truth is. And the truth is this: Democrats have been creating so much hate that childhood friends that grew up together, different races, are now bickering with each other over politics. And this is why. Because they want you to be separated. Now, Republicans are usually like that as well, but right now they're being overwhelmed with Democrats that are coming over, and they don't even know how to handle it. They don't know what to say. In fact, it's funny to look at their faces. But we can blame politics, but who are the politics speaking through? And it's your media sources. So media needs to start covering the reality and the truths and stop causing more deaths. We also need to be more involved with our communities and our children. So that is important. And I think until then, we will continue to see just an increase of disconnect from each other. All right, guys, I really hope that this family really finds justice, because right now they're having to protest for justice. They're not seeing justice, and it's hard enough what they've gone through with them finding out how their daughter died on social media. Again, people have no respect. They don't care. It's devastating. All right, we love you, Jamaica. We're wishing you the best of luck. I have to close out for now, and hopefully, don't forget, we got that Kelsey Bear. Don't forget, Dulce is still missing, the 5-year-old out of New Jersey. Keep your eye out, guys, because this is getting disappointing to know that we've gone this many days and we haven't even got a tip. As far as we know right now, we haven't heard there's a tip of where she is, or where her location could have been, if she's even been seen since the day she went missing. Much love, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.